Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om 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 Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Strong force of Kailasa landing on planet Earth directly. One thing I can be sure, you will not exist end of the program. I can guarantee that. Only Paramashiva will be there. I welcome all of you, the whole world, to come and celebrate, enjoy not only the enlightenment ecosystem, the beauty of how it is getting revived. Be an insider for this great revival process. If you are an insider even for a startup company, you will understand not only the result of the company, even that being an insider is such a joy. Being an insider when it was happening is something extraordinary. So, I welcome all of you to come and be part of an insider of this revival of Kailasa, the enlightenment ecosystem, sovereign order of Kailasa, Kailasa nation itself. I request and welcome, invite all of you to become e-Kailasian, get your free passport and make billions receive this free passport.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda
Nandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvaditam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavadhitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyananda, welcome each and every one of you joining with us, sitting with us, watching Nithyananda TV, Kailasa's official TV channel. Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasanidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Shri Nithyananda Paramashivam, is the founder and reviver of the Enlightened civilization, the greatest and only Hindu civilization, Kailasa. Adepts of the science of reincarnation in Hinduism recognized Swamiji as the avatar of Paramashiva at a very tender age, revered and worshipped now as living incarnation of super consciousness by millions. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism manifested the best contributions of Hinduism to the world, including the science of power manifestation, yoga, and temple-based universities. Kailasa Nation. Kailasa is a microcosmic, ancient, enlightened Hindu civilizational nation, which does not put importance on territory alone. Kailasa is revived by the present living incarnation of Paramashiva, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasanidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. Vivekananda visualized it, Yogananda yearned for it, Aurobindo accelerated it, Osho worked for it, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi mandated it, and due to the sincere efforts and hard work for the last 200 years, with all their blessings, Swamiji has manifested Kailasa. Kailasa supreme aim is to serve the religious and spiritual needs of 2 billion Hindus and the whole of humanity. Therefore, Kailasa is a consortium of multiple micronations, education institutions, including Hindu universities and schools, gurukuls, de facto spiritual embassies, temples, temple monastery complexes, nunneries, food banks, annamandirs, animal shelters, goshalas, libraries, jnanalayas, and organic agriculture, and more. So why is the revival of the Kailasa nation needed? A few facts regarding the so-called secular state of India. So as a secular state, if India is secular, how can India give different laws based on religion? If you're a Hindu, you have a different set of laws. If you're a Muslim, you have a different set of laws. And if you're a Christian, you have a different set of laws. The government controls temples, but not mosques and churches. Again, if you are secular, then either you control all religious bodies or you control none of them. But how is differentiation according to religion that you would control only temples but not mosque and church, call India a secular state? Different laws for minority and majority schools. You have different laws for people for the mainstream syllabus schools, and you have different laws for religious schools, for gurukulas, or for schools of the Christian faith, and so on. And you have laws for the subsidies which are given for Hajj, but not for the Amarnath Yatra. So actually, this is actually giving an example of a more brighter, broad topic of um, what this actually means, where the donations and funds which are given to one religious body, religious institution, is not the same donations, same funds which are giving to another one. So let's look into more about that now. In a truly secular country, all citizens, irrespective of religion, would be covered by a single set of laws. In India, however, people of different religion beliefs are covered by different laws, while Hindus, Sikhs, and Buddhists are covered by the Hindu Code Bills, Hindu Marriage Act, Hindu Succession Act, and etc. Muslims are covered by the Muslim personal laws, and Christians are covered by the Christian personal laws. So Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Parsis, they all inherit property differently. They have different rules for marriage, for divorce, for adoption, among other things. Some separation of religion and state, indeed. So this was taken from article uh, by the Economic Times, and they've beautifully presented the facts of how, if a state was a religious body, if it was a secular body, how the state and religion cannot be divided. How the state and religion must be divided. How, if something is a body which belongs to, if for example, if India was a secular body, they cannot call themselves secular if they're making laws based upon religion. If they are making laws, because just because you follow the Christianity faith, then you have a certain set of laws. If you follow the Muslim faith, then you have a certain set of laws. If you follow the Hindu faith, then you have a certain set of laws. That is exactly what India is doing, and doing so, they are still calling themselves as seculars, as a secular nation. But how are they secular when they have created laws based on the separation of different religions? Moving on. How many people know that while Hindu temples are under how many people know that while Hindu temples are under governmental control, mosques and churches are completely autonomous? The Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowment Act allows state governments to take over temple and control their vast properties and assets. So this is a direct attack to saying that we will call ourselves secular, but you will attack only Hindus and only the Hindu temples and Hindu ways of worship, the Hindu religious bodies like the temples and the matadipatis and so on. But we will not attack it for the same. We will not do the same for other religions. And for whatever the reason, maybe this is targeted only towards Hinduism, only towards our temples and our monasteries. Bizarrely, the state government can use the money generated by a temple donation, income from assets, etc., for purposes that have absolutely nothing to do with not just the temple or other temples, but even that which has nothing to do with Hindus or Hinduism. Interestingly, none of this applies to mosques, churches, or gurudwaras. The government has no legal authority to take over the management of a non Hindu place of worship. So, just reiterating the fact, how does it make sense to call yourself secular, to take over only the temple, the Hindu places of worship, the Hindu ways of worship, but not the way of uh, not the religious body of any other entity, of any other religious faith? So this is again another dilution, another fact where where the India and the political setup here is biased in terms of only controlling and limiting the Hindus and Hinduism, trying to destroy it, trying to take control of it, while giving a free rein to the rest of the other religions uh, being established in this state. Different laws for minority schools and majority schools. Did you know that even though minority schools, not all, but many, receive money from the government in the form of grants. They need not comply with the regulations of the Right to Education Act. While the government has clearly not spared even private schools that receive no money from the government, the RTE regulations that force schools to receive 25% of their seats for children for economical disadvantaged backgrounds. It had not dared to go anywhere near minority schools. Note that Hindu schools receives no such exemption. Here again, another one of the many facts on how the education system, on how the India's political system, the secular system, the so-called secular system in India is biased only towards Hindus and the Hindu gurukulas, the Hindus' way of education, trying to revive that, and how it's placing fee and the regulations on such bodies, but not superimposing it on upon a similar body of education institution, if it comes to an Islamic faith or if it comes to Christian faith. Subsidized for Hajj, but not for Amarnath Yatra. So this is a very interesting concept. The concept of the state funding a pilgrimage using taxpayer money is rather strange. A truly secular country would not subsidize any pilgrimage, period. However, the Indian government spent 836 crores on the Hajj subsidies in 2012. The Supreme Court passed an order that directed the government to phase out the subsidy within 10 years. So that is an extreme amount of large money for any project, any endeavor at all. And that much of money being spent on just a single 5 technical glitch. That much amount of money being spent for any single religious entity is beyond beyond regard and is actually atrocious. How can so much money be allowed to be spent just for a single religious institution of any kind? If the state was so keen to subsidize pilgrimages, shouldn't it subsidize the pilgrimage of all religions? Why are subsidizes of the same scale not extended to an Amarnath Yatra or a Kumbh Mela, or for that matter, a pilgrimage to Israel? Before critics argue that the government spends a lot of money on providing pilgrims of the Amarnath Yatra or Kumbh Mela security, I would submit that the provision of security to citizens is not a favor but a basic responsibility of any state. And as straightforward as it's given in the slide as well, doing the bare minimum and calling and saying that no, it's not that the government does only for Muslims and Christians, but doing it for Hindus as well. Look at it properly. They are doing only the bare minimum. They are not going all out and providing the support and the money which they are providing for other religious institutions and other religious pilgrimages.
Anti-guru Hindu cult to understand the importance of Hindu gurus, to keep the Hinduism alive and bring legitimacy to every aspect of Hinduism. Hinduism cannot be kept alive just by bringing political legitimacy. We need to bring spiritual legitimacy to Hinduism by demonstrating all the power manifestation sciences and studying them scientifically, systematically, doing researches and demonstrating it to the world, documenting it. I can prove the very aura of a stone becomes different after the deity, the cosmic being, is made to manifest in that. Not just energy level, even the weight, the mass of the deity. If a deity, stone deity, weighs 1 ton, once the prana pratishtha is done, the cosmic being starts manifesting in that deity, I guarantee the weight will be more than 1 ton. We need to study, document all this scientifically and demonstrate it. I am going to do it and I will do it. Already I have done this through power manifestation science. Now I will do it more systematically. Like this, each level, same way. When I am just living in my Sahaja Samadhi, my physical body weight is different. When I am in Bhava Samadhi Darshan of KALABHAIRAVOHAM or Ganapati or Shiva, the weights are different. Not just physical appearance and size, even the mass, the weight is different. I'll document all this and prove, not only for me, even for my disciples who are initiated and manifesting these powers. And I'll also prove the reproducibility of what I am demonstrating. Already I have done tons of work in this line, established tons of things, and I'll establish tons more. These are the purpose of reviving Kailasa. Only if all these are done, and whatever is done is documented and demonstrated, shown to the world, and whatever need to be documented should be documented and demonstrated to the world more systematically, scientifically, the way they can understand as per the binary logic and maths. They will understand Hinduism is extraordinary, subtle, but definitive science. Maybe subjective, but definitive science.
Yes, beautifully Swamiji explained that Hinduism doesn't need political legitimacy alone. And even though that is what is the topic which we are discussing upon today, it is very much important to bring legitimacy to all the different aspects of Hinduism, the spiritual aspect, economical aspect, social aspect, and so on. How is Kailasa working on giving political legitimacy to Hindus and Hinduism? So actually that is the purpose of the whole Kailasa nation itself. Kailasa is an apolitical nation whose vision is enlightened living on all of humanity. Towards this goal, it is dedicated to the preservation, restoration, and revival of the enlightened culture and civilization based on authentic Hinduism that was once practiced freely in over 56 nations across the continent, from Afghanistan, India, Nepal, Burma, Sri Lanka, all the way to Singapore, Malaysia, Cambodia, Indonesia, and is now facing extinction due to the persecution over a millennium. As a nation, Kailasa is a peaceful, sovereign, service oriented, and represents an ideology rather than a territory. It is rooted in the fundamental principle of Advaita or oneness, the idea that all beings can live in peace and harmony, and that all human beings are equal and divine and can reach their highest potential irrespective of their quality, nationality, religion, gender, or race. As a part of the revival of the Kailasa nation and Hinduism, Swamiji has introduced the Vakyarthas to all of us, an important aspect unique only to Hinduism. The Vakyarthas is not just for us to have deeper truths in the powerful cognitions, but also help in building the foundation for the Kailasa nation. The Vakyarthas is a part of a four-step process which is laid out in our Vedas and in our Agamas, which is needed to imbibe any powerful cognition or thought current. So, what is the Vakyarthas? The Vakyarthas is, as we had explained earlier, a part of a four-step process. The first step being the Shravana, listening to the truth from the master. So, it is actually very much equated to the same as internalizing. Is actually very much equated to the same of how food is being consumed. When you listen to a truth from the master, it is the same as consuming food, where the food you chew, you take goes inside your system and sits in your stomach. But unless the digestion process happens, the food will just sit in your food undigested, and after some time will start becoming a poison if the digestion doesn't happen. That is the same way with any powerful cognition, any spiritual truth, any thought current. It is only undigested food sitting inside your system. For it to become a part of your body, for it to become into energy which your body can use, the rest of the process is very much needed. So the second step of this process is manana, where the contemplation and internalization of the settled truths happen. Sitting with yourself and doing the contemplation, trying to find the deeper and deeper, subtler and subtler understandings of these truths. That is the second step, which is manana. And the third step is the Vakyarthas. The Vakyarthas is where the Khandana and Mandana of your logic happens. So exactly what do those words mean? Khandana means breaking the logic which you currently using, breaking the binary logic and allowing it to manifest into the multidimensional logic of the cosmos. The fourth and final step of this process is the nididhyasana, living these truths in our life. How much ever you may listen, how much ever you may sit and have the Vakyartha or sit and contemplate, debate and discuss, unless you live these principles in your life, it is very and completely almost useless to uh, have this, to internalize any of these truths. So the topic which we are going to be discussing today in today's Vakyartha is how did Hindus allow for the political illegitimacy to take place, and how can Hindus learn from their mistakes and regain their political freedom? So this is the topic which we have for today's Vakyartha. Before we enter into the Vakyarthas directly, we have a few devotees joining us from various parts of India to coming today and being a part of today's Vakyarthas. We have Mulyaya joining us from Chennai, India. Nithyananda.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much for coming today and being a part of the Vakyarthas. So before we enter directly into the Vakyarthas, let me go ahead and introduce myself and then allow Aya to introduce himself for all our viewers. My name is Shri Mangalananda Maharaj, and I'm a Valsant of the Nithyananda Gurukul. Prior to coming to the Nithyananda Gurukul, I was born and brought up in the United States. And this topic about Hinduism is something which is not introduced to me after by Swamiji in the Satsangs and so on. But very much before that, my Swamiji was an open advocate towards Hinduism, and everything. I had a lot of early on exposure to a lot of the things which Swamiji is revealing now. But at the time of when I saw my father and his initiatives and his hard work which he was doing at the time for the sake and trying to do his part in reviving and keeping whatever little bit of Hinduism is to keep it alive and intact, I didn't appreciate it actually very much at the time. And it was only after meeting Swamiji gave the correct context and the correct understanding of why Hinduism needs to be revived, why it is important to keep the uh, science of Hinduism, the Vedic tradition alive. And it is only after coming here to Gurukul, after receiving that understanding from Swamiji, I actually started appreciating what my father was doing, and I started appreciating Hinduism myself. So this is a little bit about me. Mulya, you can go ahead and introduce yourself for all our viewers. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Maharaj. This is Maharaj from Chennai, India. Uh, I came to Swamiji in 2013 as a to attend one program called Inner Awakening. That was actually a 2020 meditation program. And I should say that I came to Swamiji at a point in time when I was utterly directionless. Now, I used to pride that I was a very highly no nonsense person, very rational, very logical person, and I will be able to judge anybody, any situation, any just like that, and very biasedly as that. So that's the way I used to look at myself. And whenever somebody demanded to know why something was not happening, why something was not manifesting in my life, I used to very clearly point at somebody else, something else as the reason for that. And I used to pride in saying that, see how biasedly I judge what is happening, and were you even able to think on these lines? Were you able to work out your thought process in this line? So that's the way I used to think about when I used to argue. But it's after coming to Swamiji that I realized that my logic was very small, very minuscule context from which we should judge things. So so many, see, the number of clicks have happened, have so many, and so many things have got changed. And the miracle is the so-called click happened even when I entered the ashram, believe it or not, because I thought actually, if I can say that the inner awakening is going to start tomorrow morning, I had arranged my travel in such a way that I came to the ashram this afternoon, today afternoon. So I thought that I'll be damn dead tired and I'm going to not even have my lunch properly, and all that I've been thinking. But surprisingly, I didn't feel any tiredness at all after researching things. I don't know how I didn't feel so tired, and I was very angry. Like maybe, like I was, my logic was getting broken there, and that itself was somewhat agitating me. Like why am why am I not even feeling tired then? Like if I don't sleep now, then maybe I'll sleep during the program. Why should I? How should that happen? So many thoughts were happening, and still I was not feeling tired at all. So to that extent, Swamiji had broken my logic. Many physical miracles have happened, many things have happened, and I think I can share all these things as the discussion ensues today. So thank you for giving this opportunity, Swamiji, and back to you, Maharaj.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming today and being a part of the Vakyartha Sadhas. So, coming back to the question for today, how did Hindus allow for the political illegitimacy to take place? Now, can Hindus learn from their mistakes and regain their political freedom? So, actually, this statement reminds me of something which Swamiji had actually mentioned yesterday. Swamiji had said that when your enemy picks up the spoon, when the enemy picks up the weapon, you picking up the weapon is integrity. And it is only whenever our ancestors had followed that sense of integrity, Hinduism survived. And whenever our ancestors did not follow that, whenever they failed to follow through on their integrity, that is where we lost Hinduism. And Swamiji again reiterates that no matter however great Hinduism was, it is very important for all of us to learn from our ancestors, learn from the mistakes they had made. Only then we'll be able to ensure that these mistakes do not repeat a second time. So coming back to that statement that Swamiji had made, when the enemy picks up the weapon, when you also pick up the weapon, that is integrity. And the enemy picks up the weapon, but at that time you're sitting and doing dhyana and you're preaching ahimsa and you're speaking about all those things. That is not integrity. So if we take the Somnath temple is actually the best example of this. The temple was destroyed 16 times. 16 times the temple was destroyed. Though rebuilding it the 17th time may be a greatness, it is our flaw how we allowed it to even be destroyed 16 times. And that itself is a disrespect and doesn't show our complete, shows our lack of self-esteem, lack of self-confidence, and how that we did not put up a good front where we allowed the Somnath temple to be destroyed 16 times. Political illegitimacy is not something which is being controlled by the Indian government or being controlled by any external body. It is the inner space which each and every Hindu is carrying is what is political legitimacy. Hindus themselves do not feel that they are eligible to be legitimate by themselves. That is the fundamental problem. Because Hindus are ashamed of themselves, they do not openly even stand up for their religion, fight back, voice out, speak out when some injustice is happening in front of them about their religion. And this is fundamentally where the political illegitimacy resides, not in any governmental body, not in any nation, in any state, but it resides in each and every inner space of the Hindu. If you take a look at a history, the Hindu Holocaust, you can see multiple invasions during multiple points of time. And if you look at the facts very closely, the Hindu Holocaust is much more than the Jewish Holocaust. But why no one is speaking about it? Why has it not become such a phenomenon, such a big deal like how it became for the Jews? Because the Jews knew that they needed to survive. Something they had which Hindus do not have, and that is the self-esteem. Hindus had completely lost the self-esteem, and British had done an amazing job in breaking the Hindu self-esteem, so that when the British themselves destroyed Hinduism or the Mughals they themselves destroyed Hinduism would be so brainwashed that they'll feel that this injustice which is happening to them is something which they deserve, and is not something which is an unrighteous thing happening to them. That is fundamentally, it is because fundamentally this is the inner space which everyone has carried till now, and that we are not able to have an independent living. It is fundamentally why India is in the state India is right now, because not a Hindu stood up for themselves, stood up for Hinduism, stood up for their religion, stood up for their motherland. And why this may kind of be hurting many people's sentiments and personally hurting many people directly is the truth. Hindus do not have a backbone to stand up for themselves, and that is why they have been bullied relentlessly till now, and they will continue to be bullied relentlessly till now unless we all become unabashedly practicing Hindus. So how did the legitimacy happen? How did we allow it to take place in the first place? Unfortunately, we were very gullible, we were very innocent, and we do not protect ourselves in the correct way. When the enemy took up the weapon, we did not take up the weapon. And that is why we had lost. That is where we are non-integrated to our motherland, to the Veda Mata, and that is where Hinduism is in the state it is currently in right now. So this is my initial few words, initial take on today's question. Mulliya, if you would like to share your initial take on this question, please go ahead.
See, how did we allow the political illegitimacy to set in? Taking a weapon when the other person takes a weapon is integrity. We failed in the integrity, yes, that is there. But I actually see a different dimension to this question itself. What we call our strength, we enjoy multiple gods, we have multiple traditions. I think this strength was our weakness also. Was I using hope in the hope that Swamiji is reviving the original understanding? Means what my meaning here is when somebody criticizes something, some deity or abuses some deity or a tradition, a person belonging to another tradition doesn't understand that he is hurting only a part of himself. People belonging to another tradition, who pray to another deity, doesn't understand that a part of his own religion is being offended. See, in the quite recent time, when somebody abused Andal, a movie lyricist actually abused Andal for the way she is, and also one person, somebody abused Subramanya, Muruga about that Sashti Kavacham. Now, people who don't know Subramanya or who don't belong to that tradition, they don't recognize that it is their own religion that is being offended. Just because they don't pray to the deity, they are not able to relate to that whole incident. They don't come back with the same intensity. See, we criticize Islam and Christianity saying they are very poor because they are only one God religions. But that is working in their favor because we don't have we are not able to when we criticize the only God they have, everybody come together. But here in our case, in the Hinduism's case, it is different. We have multiple gods, we have multiple traditions. So when somebody offends some deity or some tradition that we don't belong, that original person belong to, we don't feel any intensity toward against that phenomenon that's happening. That is where I think the illegitimacy starts setting in. That is where the division starts setting in, and that is why that is why Swamiji and some politicians who are actually pro-Hinduism say, let all Hindus unite. The need for all Hindus to unite itself is more and more stressed because stressed by is stressed only by those people who understand what Hinduism means, how Hinduism is all tradition inclusive. But those who still look at the idea of, okay, he's criticizing somebody else, he's criticizing something else, some other deity, some other, that is not me, that is not mine. So that mindset is still there. So this should change. Only then the political legitimacy can even be manifested. It can begin to manifest. That's what I will say. So one must understand what Hinduism means. So that is what it ultimately comes to. Who is a Hindu? What is Hinduism all about? Is one must understand. This is my initial take, Maharaj. If you simply look at if you simply recognize that what is being criticized, I don't belong there, then nothing will happen. So first of all, understand what is Hinduism. I'll request all of viewers to think that first. Think through that statement. What is Hinduism? What do you think is Hinduism? So define that within yourself. Then come and analyze what we are doing in this other sphere. It will make more sense. It will get you will get a different cognition. You will get a greater, deeper clarity about what we are doing in this Vakyartha Sadhas, and you will also participate in this. Is what we are saying. Thank you very much.
Thank you, yeah. So yeah, you brought up a very important point. It is because of our many things which we call our pride was the same thing which, as a double-edged sword, attacked us back during the time of these invasions, which left Hinduism divided and did not join together, did not join forces to prevent the external invasions and the damage which has happened on Hinduism. So one of the things which you topics which you had brought out here is the concept of having multiple gods and many gods. So I think in one way, how it may not have contributed towards allowing Hinduism to get destroyed. In another way, it has also protected Hinduism in terms of the religion and tradition. And whatever we have left of Hinduism, the ancient traditions, the sampradayas, everything is because of our multiple god concept. Because we believe in so many gods, it is because of that whatever is left is still there, and we do not it is because of that many of our sacred scriptures, traditions, and all that is left alive. I'm just recalling a story which I had actually told previously here in the Vakyasatas. Let me tell it again. So when we had visited Cambodia along with Swamiji for the Inner Awakening program in December 2014, while we were visiting all the ancient ruins and the ancient temples, there are many temples which have the trees growing out from in between the walls, and many of the roots which are holding the walls together. So Swamiji had beautifully said that our religion, our temple science, our karma kanda, everything is like this tree. At certain times, when the tree grows, it breaks the wall, it breaks Hinduism, and that is and it's the end. It makes Hinduism into pieces. But at the same time, in times of invasion, in times of a natural calamity or a man-made calamity, whatever it may be, it is because of this tree, it is because of our rituals, our traditions, that it is still held the wall together. So be it good or bad, the traditions which is what is holding Hinduism together. Whatever we have left, whatever we are calling this the downfall of Hinduism, it is because of those reasons Hinduism has fallen, and people have taken advantage over that, have divided us, and have continuing to take advantage of it. That is the same thing which kept us alive for so long. And so yeah, because now, knowing that it is because of these traditions which at the same time may have destroyed Hinduism, but is also keeping alive what is left of Hinduism even today. If Because knowing this knowledge, how can we use the same thing, how can we use the same traditions which have kept Hinduism alive for so long, how can we turn that and start making everyone a practicing Hindu, instead of just keeping it on the books, keeping it to the tradition, allowing Hinduism to be something which is lived inside the heart and not just on words on the tongue. What is your take on that, Aya?
See, if you are saying that the same diversity is only keeping us alive, that is keeping us alive because of the people who understand the oneness of the whole idea of Hinduism, how they are intertwined, how see, Swamiji says, like, you can never appreciate how great Vishnu is without understanding the greatness of Shaiva. You can never understand the greatness of what Devi has done without knowing that oneness, where they are all same, how they are all intertwined, how one relates to the other, why knowing one thing will lead to the other. That oneness phenomenon, that connecting thread, only if you appreciate, you will understand how the connection has kept it alive. But for those people who are still out there calling themselves as Hindu and waking up for the Hindu population, but not for the Hindu thought current, not for the Hindu think tank, for them we are all different. We are all different. You are somebody and I am somebody. See, even now, when I look back at my childhood, I remember one of my Vaishnavite family, they never celebrated Ganesh Chaturthi. They'll very elaborately celebrate Vaikuntha Ekadashi. They will very elaborately celebrate Krishna Jayanti and all that. But they will not celebrate Ganesh because they will say that is not my God. They are not. I don't see. They are very nice people. If you move with them, they are very nice people, and they are not very fanatic or something. They are very tolerant. In fact, even non-Hindus used to come to their house during the Navaratri Kolu festival and receive this kumkum. The lady used to, that mommy used to give kumkum and that blouse bits and all that. The tradition she used to follow. She was very respectful towards the elders. All that was there. But somehow that Ganesha, okay, that's one more deity. That's all. That's the way she was looking at the idea of Ganesha. She now celebrated it as such. And because the way she will talk about it or she will behave during the festival, you will never feel that she's fanatic about her religion or something. It's simply that she is just intensely living only her tradition, and she doesn't relate to the other traditions. So this is what I think should vanish. Only if this vanishes and we understand what Hinduism truly is in its truest dimension, its largest glory, then we can even think of bridging the gap. So for this, we have to go out in the world and understand more and more traditions. See, here Swamiji talks about 10,000 traditions now being alive, and 80 or 90 traditions more having got vanished. If even when we are saying that so many traditions have vanished, when we have so much diversity to learn from, then you can imagine how Hinduism will be in its largest glory. So the more diversity you appreciate, the more plurality you encourage in your life, I think you are more Hindu. So Hinduism is all about, so how we can legitimize this, how we can bring about political legitimacy. I will say the very strong suggestion I will offer our viewers and something to think about is, look how you can appreciate whatever you see on the outside. Look how you and the other person are same, where they are, you both are same. What value system you hold, uh, whereby you can say that your tradition and that tradition are the same, or how one is dependent on the other, how they are both intertwined. Think like in that holistic way, in that integrating way rather than dissecting way. When you dissect, when you use your only kandana and never mandana, then it never happens. So look to integrate, look to see how the both are same, how you both reach the same culminating ultimate truth point. If you do that, I think you will realize the importance and necessity for all the traditions. And this, if you do, I think you are sure to uh, look beyond who you deify. If you say this is my God, this is my tradition, you look beyond that. Okay, your tradition. What do you want to achieve? Ultimately achieve? Do you want to just uphold that Godhead, or do you want to go beyond that? Think like that. Do you want to uphold this Godhead and make it supreme for everybody? Then you are as fanatic as anybody else. That's what I will say. So it's not about Christian or Muslim. It's about the thought current. Do you want to uphold only one Godhead? Do you want to uphold only one tradition? Then you are fanatic. That's all. So look to integrate. Look for holism. Then you are there. Then you are achieving the purpose of Kailasa. This is what I will request my viewers. Have I answered you?
Actually, in response to this, to the response which you gave, Swamiji had actually again and again told that why Hinduism is going to be successful in the future of humanity, why Hinduism is the only religion for humanity going forward, is because we accommodate the idea and the concept of multiple gods and multiple faiths and multiple gods basically. And it is this tradition, only religions which accommodate these multiple gods theory and worship multiple gods, only then they have a future on the planet Earth as well. Humanity is beautifully evolving and maturing to a point where they are going towards mainstream, towards they are not just trusting what is being told to them by the media, but they are doing their own due diligence as well. They are doing research, they are finding out the true answers, and they have started questioning society, questioning humanity. And that only Hinduism will be able to stand the scrutiny of modern society, modern humanity, and modern youth. Yeah, why do you think is that? Why is it so that Swamiji has said that only Hinduism is capable and is the only religion which will be able to stand the scrutiny of the modern humanity and modern civilization?
Today, we are actually proudly demanding proof, evidence for everything. For us, everything will be acceptable if only you are able to show statistics, show tangible results. But God, we say, is intangible. You can't perceive through the five senses. It is something that you have to feel within, realize within. So, how can this happen? How exactly can we make humanity at large realize this true self, especially uh, when the concept of the five senses itself is highly subjective. See, what you are able to see with your bare eyes may not be something which I may be able to see with my bare eyes at this age. And or 70 or 80-year-old person may be able to see even may not be able to see something even quite a big object, what I will perceive as a big object for me to see clearly. So the idea of perceiving through the five senses is highly subjective across the whole globe. And how we can actually achieve the ultimate beyond the five senses is possible only because of Hinduism. Because what is Hinduism? It is not about objectifying God. We don't actually intend to objectify God. It's a very, very strong statement I want to make. Many people oppose, many these non-Hindu religion people I see in my life, they oppose Hinduism because they think it is replacing them, it is eliminating them. But what they need to understand is we are actually encompassing them. We are not eliminating them. We are accommodating your thought current also. We are willing to look at we are willing to look at as God, who you look at as God also. The only thing we don't do is we don't stop there. If this idea is made clear in the minds of many people, they will understand. See, I have some, I remember one or two friends of mine, they come to temples, they have vibhuti on their foreheads. After coming here, they take Hindu prasadam, they apply vibhuti on their head, and because, hey, come on, man, it's just a ash, what is going to do to me? Just applying on the ash like you're on the forehead, like how you do, is not going to change my God, it's not going to change my religion. I will say that these are the true Hindus, even though they are not Hindus by birth, by lineage, they are Hindu by thought current. So Hinduism is a thought current. You must have this accommodative mindset. When I say I have only I have the true God, only I have the true book, I have the true prophet and all that, that will never work. Because what is peace ultimately? See, this who we call as fanatic, if you remove the objective and if you try to understand it as a thought current, as a process, we'll see whose fanatic is somebody who intends to uh, universalize whatever their idea is. But why do we say peace? Then where is the peace? If you want to only have what you think is correct and you want everybody to accept it, where is the peace quotient in that? The idea of peace will emanate only when you accept more and more things. See, from the understanding whatever Swamiji had given all these years, I will, from my side, I will say like this: you can define yourself to be a peace-loving religion only if you accept more and more greater and greater quantum of existence. The more you want to change anything, the more and more violent you are. The more and more you say yes to things already as they are, the more and more non-violent you are. So from that you can judge whether you are a violent religion, you are a violent tradition or not, or whatever it is. So that is the thing. So how does Hinduism accommodate? Why is Hinduism going to be the future of humanity? Because that is where we accept more and more thought currents. More and more different ways of looking at God, more and more with this Vakyartha Sadhas, we are willing to discuss things out. We are willing to go deeper into the understanding of what we are saying. We are not declaring it. What we are now doing to the world is not, we are not declaring whatever we think is correct. We are only stating our understanding, and we are leaving the door open for any further thought currents to come in. This idea of actually allowing people to say what they want to say, ask questions if they need to, and give a shared understanding. And bottom line, I can say, even agree to disagree, we can never have a peaceful world. And this agreeing to disagree, not praying to the same deity, not belonging to the same tradition, is still okay, because that is not disturbing me, my existence, my life, my way of operating my life, is a thought current which as of now only majorly Hindus do. The one God religions can never achieve this. One God traditions can never achieve this. The more traditions you are saying, willing to say yes to, is when you really achieve that world peace and all that. And that is where I think Hinduism will have its say, and it will be here to stay. That is why we say it's not about any fanaticism. It's not my religion is the best. It's about what it is. I'm not saying Hinduism as a label. I'm saying Hinduism as a thought current. Same way I'm criticizing and non-Hindu faith as not that label, but what the thought currents are. You are free to say your idea will work for the rest of the world, for the rest of time in history. But you have to explain how, you have to explain why, and you have to be ready to accept questions, any questions for that matter, without feeling that you are offended and taking out sword and making me accept whatever you're saying. So in that sense, I think Hinduism is here to stay. And thanks Swamiji for reviewing Kailasa, because that is a thought current that will make it prevail, make it happen, and multiply its effect. Thank you.
Yes, yeah. So actually, one of the best ways, see, fundamentally, then something which we both have agreed upon is because Hindus do not have the correct knowledge and they're ignorant about their own religion. If you're ignorant about something, only then you throw away it. If you have a piece of jewelry, for example, and you do not know the value, then after some time, it's sitting in your home, it'll start sitting in your junkyard. From your junkyard, it'll head on to the trash. But if you know the value of that jewelry, then it is going to be adorning either you, or it'll going to be adorning a place in your house, which you will keep it to display, and you will display to the whole world. So without the correct knowledge, because of ignorance, many times people are afraid and they are ashamed, and they do not wish to practice Hinduism in that case, be it whether they're feeling ashamed or whether they're just simply ignorant, they do not have the correct understanding. Many times it's not even ignorance, it's about having the wrong understanding. People this is something that Swamiji had told many years ago, that in all the universities around the world, not a single university, the subject of Hinduism, wherever Hinduism is taught, the religion Hinduism is taught, that is not taken up by a Hindu, by a practicing Hindu. Everywhere where the subject of Hinduism taught, the professors, the teachers, all of them are people of other faith, other religions, or of no religion at all. But there is nowhere where a practicing Hindu is teaching Hinduism in any university around the world. And without a practicing Hindu having to teach you Hinduism, naturally you are not going to have the correct understanding about Hinduism. No one is going to teach you the correct reasons of why Hinduism does what Hinduism does. And for that correct orientation of, for it is for that purpose Swamiji created the Nithyananda Hindu University, where people are taught authentic Hinduism by practicing authentic Hindus, for the sake of people to practice authentic Hinduism. Swamiji has created the Paramashivam program as a beautiful Hindu orientation program, where you correctly get introduced to Hinduism and the Hindu way of lifestyle. We have a small video of the Paramashivam program. For more details, if you want to register yourself as a part of the Paramashivam program, you can visit nithyananda.paramashivam.org. Please stay tuned. We have a small promo video about the Paramashivam program.
The time is right. The world is ready. You are going to experience literally Paramashiva. Most powerful, intangible but definitive, intense processes. This is the most powerful spiritual nuclear explosion, the strong force of Kailasa landing on planet Earth directly. One thing I can be sure, you will not exist end of the program. I can get.
Yes, sir, yeah. We've almost come to the conclusion of today's Vakyartha Sadhas. We've come to the next phase of it. So before we conclude today's Vakyartha Sadhas, before we end today's Vakyartha Sadhas, what is your final takeaway, yeah? Your final something, the essence of today's Vakyartha, something which you are taking away from today's Vakyartha Sadhas. Please go ahead and you can share now, yeah. Yeah, Murliya, I think you need to unmute yourself.
Stop looking at the label Hindu. Think through what is Hinduism. Just think through what that label stands for. You have many answers. That's my final takeaway.
Yes, I am. Thank you so much. Fundamentally, Hinduism needs to be taught to the world by practicing authentic Hindus. And it is when Hindus have the correct understanding about Hinduism, Hindus have the understanding of why we do what we do, only then the correct inner space will be built. And without the correct inner space, you will not be able to have political legitimacy. Political legitimacy doesn't reside in any outside body. It resides within each and every inner space of a person who's calling themselves a Hindu. And the best way going forward is giving life to the Nithyananda Hindu University project, which Swamiji has built, with Swamiji has been propelling for the past couple of years, and supporting Swamiji in that mission of Nithyananda Hindu University, helping the Nithyananda Hindu University to reach each and every part of the world, to give everyone the understanding, not only Hindus but other people as well, other religious people of different faiths as well, that Hinduism isn't a backwards religion. Hinduism is the ultimate higher science. It is the religion, and there's more than just a religion. It is the mother of all religions. Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, everything came out of the Vedic tradition. And it is Hinduism, it is the Vedic tradition, which is the only tradition which will encompass it and allow all this to be integrated and a part of Hinduism itself. So thank you so much, Ayya, for coming today and being a part of the Vakyartha Sadhas. With this, we thank you so much for all our viewers for coming today, sitting in on us and watching the Vakyartha Sadhas. With this, it's a time to receive Swamiji and welcome Swamiji for the Nitya Satsang.
Feeling honored, blessed. Thank
all
you.
of you. Yes, Ayya. Yes, Ayya. Thank you so much. Yes. Now it's time to enter into the meditation. Please sit straight with your head, neck, and spine in a straight line. Visualize Swamiji sitting in your Anandagandha and close your eyes. Visualize Swamiji sitting in your Anandagandha as Paramashiva with the 25 heads and 50 hands. Now, start chanting the Mahavakya mantra, Om Nithyananda Paramashivam, and allow this mantra to reverberate throughout the entire body. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
I bless you all. Let you all open all your three eyes and manifest the powers of Mahasadashiva. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.